Hey, Bill Vasey here. Thanks for watching this video on using ELECTROWorx to route cable tray within AutoCAD Plant 3D. Well, the first thing to do in Plant 3D is get the project manager open. With the project manager open, we'll launch a drawing. And then we want to add a cable tray spec that came from ELECTROWorx. So we'll use the right-click option, copy spec to project, and browse for a cable tray spec. Today we'll use the 71CA. That's a 7-inch cable tray made out of aluminum, capable of carrying a 100-pound per foot load. Double-clicking on the spec will launch the spec viewer. And if we get the spec viewer docked, we can go to work and start placing parts. At the top of the list are the couplings. These are the straight sections. And there's multiple options of couplings, 10 footers, 20 footers. And within the long description, you'll see a reference to the NEMA standard 20C or 20cc. In this video, we'll use the spec viewer to insert the parts. At the top of the spec viewer is a drop down for size selection. It lists all of the Plant 3D sizes. Optionally, in the part insertion section of the ribbon, you'll see just the sizes of the cable trays available. Either can be used to set size. Once the size is set, then you can simply pick an item and then use the Insert Model button in the lower right-hand corner. In this case, the straight section of cable tray is located at your cursor and can be placed. Entering 0, 0 at this point at the command line will insert the straight section at that location in space. But the insertion routine is not finished. Now we have to orientate the part relative to the plane. AutoCAD Plant 3D offers a plane at the command prompt, and the plane orientation can be adjusted by typing P enter or using the plane option in the command prompt itself. We'll get back to horizontal by clicking plane again and orientate this with the direction down the X axis. AutoCAD Plant 3D automatically offers the same part to be inserted again. Plant 3D works best by using the Node Insertion Object Snap setting, and that setting only. It will prey on the endpoints of components. After picking a node on a mating component, then you must set the orientation. That angle orientation is provided at the command prompt, and usually the default setting is what you want to use. Next, let's add a horizontal bend elbow to the end of this cable tray. Navigate down to the elbow section within the spec viewer. Find the horizontal bend elbow by long description. Select and click the Insert into Model button to start the process. Optionally, a double click can be used. Here we'll see the elbow comes in, and if we pick on a node, it snaps. If I want to use the other end, type N at the command prompt and enter, and it will change the orientation to the opposite connection point. Just like straight sections, once connected, you have to determine the angle orientation. Align that properly, and a final click will set the component. Now let's add another straight section. I'll add a 10-foot section this time and insert that, and we'll see that automatically the straight section will align with the elbow faces. Let's change elevation by using a vertical elbow. In the elbow section, there's vertical inside radius and vertical outside radius. Here we're going to want to use a vertical outside radius to make that bend down. Select the component and then snap it to the end of that last straight section. And just like the horizontal bend, after inserting on the node, the orientation must be selected and will pull downward. Let's continue our routing downward by selecting another straight section. And on insert to the vertical bend, the straight section will align with its face. Now let's change the length of that elevation change. Every component, or in this case straight component, can be modified just by simply using the AutoCAD Properties palette. Within the palette, you'll see an image for all of the ELECTROWorx Plant 3D objects, and up below that image for the geometry are the parameters that can be set. Length is a parameter for cable tray sections. So by changing this from 12 feet to another value, we'll see the length of that tray change. Now note that connection point 1 will be the anchor, and connection point 2 will be the one that changes its position. Well, so far so good. That was easy. Now I'm going to present perhaps the most challenging part of routing cable tray with ELECTROWorx parts, and that is the orientation of a splice plate. This is a known issue where we orientate a component and the splice plate is rotated at 90 degrees. Oh, these splice plates are coming in automatically, which is nice, but in this case, the orientation is such that Plant 3D cannot orientate them as the components are aligned. When this happens, you can delete the components, take control of the UCS. The UCS has little grips on it. You pick it and you can move the UCS to the endpoint and then place the x-axis perpendicular. Now when we repeat this inner bend radius, elbow, insertion routine, the splice plates will be aligned. So a simple workaround to have these splice plates aligned, and that's the most challenging aspect of routing cable tray using ELECTROWorx parts. So to finish things up, just reorientate your UCS by typing UCS at the command prompt. That's one option. And then the default is world. So just click enter and we're back to world. And now I can get back to placing parts with the normal orientation. And normally the splice plates will come in just fine. It's just the occasional orientation that you'll have to deal with the UCS. Well, that concludes this video on routing cable tray with ELECTROWorx. Thank you for watching.